In wake of the FBI warning about planned protests at all 50 state capitals, just how prepared are local agencies to protect us if something were to happen here? I'm Chris Warner with that answer.
Kansas lawmakers are back in session.
I'm excited.
And facing an early challenge as they look to extend the expiring disaster declaration for the state.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
The FBI warned security officials at all 50 state capitals armed protesters could be coming. This is KOAM News at 6. Here in the four states, officials are ramping up security following the warning. We'll tell you about some of the action they're taking in just a moment, but first, the warning comes in the days leading up to the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden. 10,000 National Guard troops are already in D.C. or on their way, and that number could go up to 15,000. The Washington Monument has closed, and the Park Service says it may shut down other public areas in the coming days. President Trump approved D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser's request for an emergency declaration. She's urging people to stay home.
Our goals right now are to encourage Americans to participate virtually and to protect the District of Columbia from a repeat of the violent insurrection experienced at the Capitol.
President-elect Joe Biden says he's still planning to take the oath of office on the west front of the Capitol. CBS News senior national security analyst Fran Townsend, who served as Homeland Security advisor to President George W. Bush, says with the increased security measures, she thinks this will be the safest and most secure inauguration we've ever seen. Back in the four states, officials at the capitals in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri say they're taking note of the FBI warning. KOAM's Chris Warner has more on what they're doing and how officials at the Joplin Police Department make sure things stay safe locally.
Back in June, some businesses in downtown Joplin boarded up their windows after rumors circulated on social media that Antifa was planning a protest in the city.
We're fortunate that, that was just a rumor. Nobody ended up showing up in town.
But the department was still prepared, just in case. Captain Will Davis with JPD says they're continuously monitoring for any local threats.
We work and collaborate with other partners in the industry, and that's surrounding agencies, other federal agencies, and we're all making sure that we're on the same page.
We reached out to officials regarding security at the Capitol buildings in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. Missouri provided this statement saying, quote, "While the Missouri Department of Public Safety's policy is not to discuss specific details of security plans or operations, they include long-term advanced planning, training, exercises, and close coordination between state government and our local federal partners. Also key is sharing regional and national homeland security and intelligence information in real time. Security operations and staffing are adapted based on this information and other sources." Kansas officials told us, quote, "Our office is aware of the heightened risks being reported, and we are taking all threats seriously." In Oklahoma, the Department of Public Safety sent us this response saying, quote, "We are working with the governor's office as well as House and Senate leadership regarding the safety and security of the public, state employees, elected officials, and government facilities. Anytime there is a large planned event at the Capitol, we have extra personnel on hand for security." Back in Joplin, while there's been no indications of any planned events in the city, they are ready should the need arise.
We have our officers trained to respond adequately to these events if they were to occur.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Davis wants to emphasize there are no indications of any planned protests within the city of Joplin. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley is facing more calls for his resignation today from Democrats and a Missouri labor union. Senator Hawley was a leader of efforts to challenge the 2020 presidential election results and voted to question the Electoral College count even after a mob broke into the U.S. Capitol. Since then, several supporters and financial donors have cut ties with him. Democrats in the Missouri House today filed a resolution urging Hawley to resign. Meanwhile, the American Federation of Government Employees led a small protest outside the federal courthouse in St. Louis, chanting, "Josh Hawley has to go." Kansas lawmakers are back in session and already facing a COVID-19 related challenge, extending provisions in the Kansas Emergency Management Act. Many provisions are set to expire on the 26th of this month. Those include provisions that allow for telehealth services. KEMA will not be the only item on lawmakers' radar. Republican Senator Brenda Dietrich says legislators need to catch up on a lot from last year.
A lot of those bills that we didn't pass will now be back because we didn't get a chance to address them last session. So we'll start off having hearings in almost every committee that I'm on. So it'll be a very fast-paced session, I believe.
Lawmakers plan to launch investigations into the state's handling of the vaccine rollout. Meanwhile, in the Kansas House, newly elected Kansas City Democrat Aaron Coleman recently reached an agreement with a woman who accused him of stalking. It ended a court order against him, but a spokesman for House Minority Leader Tom Sawyer said there will still be a complaint filed against Coleman this week to try to oust him from the post. Checking in now with Doug Hetty for a first look at the weather. Hi, Doug.
Hey, Dow. It actually turned out to be a pretty good day for us today, warming up more than what we have seen over the past couple days as we made it all the way up to 50 during the afternoon, which is nice to get back into the 50s. Plenty of sunshine. Average high is 44 degrees. Clear skies, nothing going on across the region. We'll continue to see clear skies throughout the overnight hours for us tonight. And we're going to start to watch a storm system, which will get brewing by the time we head into tomorrow night and Thursday. But until then, we're pretty quiet. Most of us are sitting near 40, if not into the lower 40s. We'll drop back through the 30s, so about midnight, we'll be hovering right around freezing. And then I think most of us about 29 or 30 degrees as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. But we're going to have pretty much clear skies, so it looks pretty good across the region. Even warmer for us tomorrow, and we're going to look at our next storm systems here in just a bit.
All right, we'll catch you then. Thanks, Doug. A former Webb City junior high teacher and coach pleads guilty to third-degree child molestation. Nicholas Popejoy of Arma, Kansas, was originally charged with statutory sodomy for alleged sexual contact with a student in 2019, but the charge was reduced through a plea deal. Popejoy is to be sentenced on March 22nd. A judge halts the execution of a woman who is scheduled to die tonight for killing a pregnant Missouri woman and cutting her baby from her womb. Lisa Montgomery faced execution for killing 23-year-old Bobby Joe Stennett in the northwest Missouri town of Skidmore. That was back in 2004. Montgomery took Stennett's unborn daughter and tried to pass the baby off as her own. But a judge today ordered a competency hearing to determine whether Montgomery is mentally ill. If tonight's execution had gone forward, Montgomery would have been the first woman to be executed in the U.S. in nearly 7 decades. Health officials in Arkansas are afraid they could soon get to the point they have to turn COVID-19 patients away, as the state sees a record increase in intubating COVID-19 patients.
It just pierces my heart daily how that could possibly come to that point in our community.
Just ahead, why they say it's not an equipment issue, but a staffing issue that's behind those concerns. Freeman and Mercy hospitals currently have a combined total of well over 100 COVID patients. Freeman has 55 patients, 6 more than last report. 4 of Freeman's patients are in Neosho, 16 Freeman patients are in intensive care. Mercy Hospital currently has 56 COVID patients. That's 2 more than last report and 16 more than just a couple of weeks ago. The Springfield Medical Center for Federal Prisoners reports an inmate has died due to COVID-19. On December 10th, 60-year-old inmate Michael Hollingsworth tested positive for COVID-19 and was put in medical isolation. On the 14th of last month, he was evaluated by medical staff at the medical center for decreased oxygen saturation and then was taken to a local hospital for further treatment. He died on January 9th, a few days ago. Hollingsworth was reported to have long-term pre-existing medical conditions. He was sentenced to 32 years for attempting to manufacture methamphetamine. Arkansas state health leaders are reporting a record-breaking day. 30 more people were put on ventilators due to COVID-19 across the state. State health officials say the problem isn't due to a potential shortage. The state has 617 ventilators still available. The problem is a shortage of staffing.
The issue is the beds in the hospitals, and the issue behind that is the staff that's needed to take care of people who are so very ill in the ICU.
Officials in Ouachita County Medical Center in Camden, Arkansas say every inpatient in their facility is COVID-19 positive. Doug Hetty is up next with his complete forecast, and a little bit later how local pharmacists continue to help their customers during this pandemic.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a great Tuesday for us today. We have plenty of sunshine across the region. Plus, we warmed up more than what we have seen over the past couple days, which we'll always take. We made it up to 50 for us today. Average high is 44, so a nice little chunk above where we should be. And we're going to actually press 60 degrees by the time we head into Wednesday afternoon. Zooming in for us right now, currently at 41, south winds at about 5 to 10. Humidity is at 62%. And as we work through the evening hours, our temperatures will slowly drop back. It's still not bad. It's 41 in Miami, 41 in Pittsburgh, Galena 42, Seneca much of the same, 45 in Neosho, Carthage at 40 degrees. And most of us around the metro are sitting at 39 to about 41 or 42 degrees. And eventually we'll drop back into the upper 20s later on tonight. But a nice south wind kind of helped our temperatures warm up for us today. So a south wind at about 5 to 10 for us tonight. But these are going to increase for us tomorrow. So it's going to be a little windier as we work into Wednesday afternoon. Through the evening hours by 10 p.m., 36. We'll drop back to about 29 or 30 later on tonight. But clear skies, nothing going on across the entire Central Plains. And we have a few clouds down across parts of Texas and then across the Northern Plains, and that is just about it. Let's head north. We've had 4.5 inches of snow this winter, but we haven't had any Arctic air. It's all locked up across parts of Canada. You can see our jet stream way up to the north. So until that really buckles, we're not going to get any Arctic air, and there doesn't look like we're going to have any, at least over the next week and a half or so. And then finally, it may let loose a little bit right at the end of the month. But as of right now, we have a weak system down through Texas, really not going to affect us, and then our next storm system out across the Pacific Northwest. So let's go through time for us tonight. We'll drop back to about 29 or 30. Mostly sunny skies for us tomorrow. We'll get a few upper level clouds. It's going to be a little windy. We're going to have those south winds at 10 to 20, but 53 by noon. High temp near 60 during the afternoon, which is pretty good. Tomorrow night, some clouds increase. Here comes a cold front. So this is Thursday morning at about 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't have really any moisture to work with. We may get a few random showers behind the front, maybe mixed in with a flake or two of snow, and then it quickly rolls right on by, and then we clear out. It's going to be a little bit cooler Thursday and Friday, but overall it looks pretty good. So let's go down the road. Here's our system on Thursday. On the backside, we may get a few snow showers on Friday. System rolls east. Another system drops in on Sunday. Again, it doesn't really have any moisture to work with. We may get a few snow showers, but that's about it. Another system on Tuesday. Again, it doesn't have really any moisture to work with. And finally, things will get going late next week. So if we look over the next few weeks, the blue days are cold days or cool days. The yellow days are kind of mild temperatures. All of next week, mainly dry for the beginning of the week. We do have that storm system with rain chances by Thursday. The following week, we have 2 storm systems, and that's going to be our shot to get some wintry weather. And then we hit a little lull in the pattern once again as we roll into the beginning of February. 59 tomorrow, 49 on Thursday, a few showers. Cooler, 38 on Friday. It stays chilly over the weekend, but temperature is really not bad, hanging out right around 40 degrees.
And you know, Doug, rarity can increase value. Days in the upper 50s, mid-January,
we'll take that
in 4 states.
in January.
Yeah, it's pretty rare and pretty valuable. Thanks, Doug. Hey, still ahead, it's National Pharmacist Day. We're going to tell you how local pharmacists continue to find ways to help people in a meaningful way during this pandemic. Local pharmacists continue to find ways to help people in a meaningful way during this pandemic. Now, pharmacies, like a lot of other businesses, have had to adapt to the changes the pandemic has brought. Many closed their lobbies and offered drive-through or delivery for prescriptions during stay-at-home orders. Amanda Wilson with Prater's Pharmacy in Webb City says lately they've been doing a lot more to help patients who may not feel comfortable going into a traditional healthcare setting.
Whether it's just, I kind of need some extra counseling or advice on something that maybe before I would have went to the ER for. So, a lot more questions about, do I need to be referred for this, or is it something that maybe we could figure out a treatment for over the counter?
Today, by the way, is National Pharmacist Day. Boy, those pharmacists certainly are essential workers. We're going to hear more from Wilson and from the owner of Stone's Corner Pharmacy tonight at 9 and 10. Joplin Spiva Center for the Arts has been hosting its Creation Station sessions online through Zoom since last spring. As a weekly after-school art class for kids in the area, the program is centered around a different concept each time. With the help of an instructor, they complete a new art project using basic art supplies like crayons and markers, along with other household materials. We spoke with Sandra Pemberton, the instructor behind the course, who says the key to setting up a successful creative environment is simply eliminating the distractions.
Get rid of the devices. Shut off the TV, because whenever kids don't have that, they're creative by nature. So if you just set them down at a table with whatever art supplies and are like, okay, well, let's step away from the devices and play with this, and just kind of let them go and experiment with it, and you'll be really surprised at what they come up with.
You can find more of our interview with Sandra on the morning show page on our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. PSU ROTC cadets got the chance to explore their future career opportunities. The cadets traveled to Fort Riley, Kansas to visit the 1st Battalion of the 635th Armored Regiment of the Kansas Army National Guard. The cadets toured different stations and learned about weapons like the Abrams battle tank. The medical marijuana industry in Arkansas saw a 900% sales increase from 2019. The state sold $180 million worth of medical marijuana in 2020. Officials say that equates to 26,000 pounds. Patients in the state have spent a total of $200 million on marijuana. Final check on the weather is next.
Kids are curious.
Take some time now to honor a local veteran, Master Sergeant Charles Wagner. Pleasant Hill, Missouri native served in the U.S. Air Force, and we are proud to salute Master Sergeant Charles Wagner. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Checking back in with Doug now for a final look at the weather.
All right, Dow, it's going to be a cold night. Clear skies will dip back into the upper 20s to near 30 degrees, but Wednesday looks great. It's going to be a little windy, but we should warm near 60 during the afternoon, and then a few showers with a cold front on Thursday. So we do cool back down Thursday and Friday, but most of the weekend looks pretty good, staying kind of chilly.
Thanks, Doug. Hey, a reminder to stay up to date on the latest news, weather, and sports. Download the KOAM News app. Boy, the price is right. It's free. It's in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. All you have to do is search for the KOAM News app. If you haven't done this yet, why not? You can do it right now. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.